Oh, hello there. So this video is a review slash tutorial slash demonstration of the Ellitone KeyControl, a MIDI and CV controller by Ellitone synthesizer, available on Etsy. So I start with a kind of overview of the device, of its features, UI, physical makeup, all that stuff. And then I do a demonstration of its different modes and features, using different situations, like a electric piano sound, drum sound. And at the end, I give my pros and cons and final verdicts on the device. So yeah, I hope you enjoy.
All right, so this is the KeyControl, a MIDI and CV controller by Ellitone, available in the Ellitone store on Etsy. It is made of wood and has 12 velocity-sensitive pads, quantized to one of the 12 scales available on the device. It can be powered via its USB-C port or using 6 AAA batteries. There is also an option for a model without the battery slots, which makes the device slightly slimmer. The KeyControl can connect to MIDI via its USB-C port or via a TRS port with a provided adapter. It also has 3 CV outputs to connect with modular gear. There is one pitch output calibrated at 1 volt per octave, as well as one gate output and one velocity output. The UI also includes a few buttons on the face of the device. One button on the bottom left allows to sustain notes when held. A pair of buttons on the top left allows to change octave. And finally, one button on the top right allows selecting one of the 2 modes available on the device. One being a regular controller mode and the other a generative sequencer of sorts.
All right, so time to connect the device and make some sound. So I'm just going to use MIDI with the USB MIDI connected to my computer. And I have Arturia Analog Lab open with the electric piano sound. So let's see if that works. Okay, so it's working. All right, so the first thing I will mention is that the Ellitone doesn't function like a keyboard, right? So it's basically very percussive type of response. So when you hit a pad, you send a trigger, right? But it's not like a gate. So if I keep my finger on, it's not like it keeps the gate open. Just send the trigger and that's it. And also, when you release, you get a response, right? You get another trigger. Even if you press shortly, but not as short as possible, you can get these weird, like echo. If you want to play sustained note, what you have to do is hold the sustain button. Right, so here you can see the difference. All right, so now the beautiful thing with this device is the scales that you have. To change scales, you have to hold the top right button and select the pad. So the first pad here gives me the chromatic scale. That's where I was up to now. Right, 1 octave. The second gives me major 1. I'm just reading the name of the scales from the website. Right, so what's nice is the layout of the scale is very musical. It's not just do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It's laid out in a very nice musical fashion. Then we have major 2. Okay, a little more like a regular scale, but with some interesting stuff at the top. Then we have minor. Some sort of Dorian, I guess. Nice. Then we have a Phrygian. Okay, so here we have more like a regular scale. Then we have what they call nature handpan drum scale. Let's see. Nice. Again, a really fascinating sound and layout for the scale. Then we have something called akebono. Sounds Japanese to me, but I don't know. Let's see. Oops. Wrong button. Here we go. Ah. Very nice. So that was akebono. Then we have enigma. Here it is. Okay, another kind of weird minor. More like Aeolian sounding to me. Then we have minor pentatonic. Okay, very familiar scale, but again, unique layout. Then we have Hutsu. Ooh, interesting. Very cool. Very cool scale. Hutsu. Then we have Lydian. Okay. Okay. And finally, tonus, handpan drum scale. Cool. Nice. All right, so now let's try another use case, which is using a drum kit, drum rack. So let's see. This one. And now I just need to figure out how to get the right note. So I'll choose the chromatic scale. And I'm too high, so I can go down an octave. Yep. Okay, but that's not enough. One more octave. And I'm too low. So I'm just going to use the Ableton to correct that. Okay, sorry, I'm a little slow here. Yeah, that's it. All right, so now okay, so pretty nice, responsive. The only issue I can see is that you can't really rearrange the layout, right? You're kind of stuck with this chromatic layout. Or I guess I could try the scales, but I don't know if it would make a lot of sense. So I wish maybe it was possible to program, like to have, okay, I want the bass drum here, the snare, the hi-hat, whatever. So that's maybe one issue. But other than that, very responsive, very sensitive to velocity. So I like that. All right, so then one last mode, one last thing, the generative sequencer. So you switch to it by clicking, pressing shortly this button here on the top right. And then what you do is you press a pad and it will start the pulse. And if you press it again, the pulse will become a little slower, and so on. And it's also responsive to velocity. So I can do it loud or short. And I guess here I pressed so loud that I triggered another pad. Let me start again. Okay, and now okay, so you can create these kind of interesting polyrhythms. To stop, you hold the sustain button and you can just clear. So let me try that with a melodic instrument. Actually, let's do Wurlitzer. Keep with the electric piano theme. Okay, so let me go up. And let's change the scale. Again, we do that. Yeah, I guess that's cool. Okay. Yeah, so it's kind of a little weird, but can create some interesting effect. All right. Yep. Yeah, the responsiveness is really great, and yeah, it's really expressive. All right, so that's it for the demonstration, I guess. Let's move to the pros and cons and final thoughts.
All right, so that's it. Thank you for watching. I just wanted to briefly go over the pros and cons I can see with this device, as well as my final thoughts. So in terms of pros, well, it is definitely a unique controller, and I haven't seen anything like that. It is somewhat similar to the way the Seat Lombard device is controlled, but as a standalone kind of MIDI CV controller. That's the only one I know of this type. It looks and feels fantastic. It's really nice, like kind of nice wood and well built and so on. It has good MIDI and CV connectivity, right? You can, for MIDI, you have USB and TRS, and for CV, I know I didn't demonstrate in this video, but it's very simple, and you have gate, velocity, and gate, pitch, and velocity. So you have all you need to make some cool things happen. The portability is great. You can use, at least with the model that I have that has batteries, that can use AAA batteries. So that's great. The scales are interesting, really. The choice of scales and also the way they are laid out is pretty interesting. Finally, the generative sequencer, although it's a little weird. It's not something I would use all the time, but it can create pretty quickly. You can create some interesting kind of layout, an interesting polyrhythmic kind of chord or something like that. So these are the pros. Now for the cons. Well, the first one is the same as my first pro. It's a unique controller, so it's definitely not a run-of-the-mill controller. So it's not something that will work in every situation with every type of sound and setup. The second thing is there is really not much customization. You can't really assign notes to keys, especially a problem when you do finger drumming. It would be nice to be able to assign the bass drum, the snare, the hat to specific keys. No control over velocity sensitivity or velocity curve. Also in general, it's not really fully featured. There is no arpeggiator. There is no more like regular sequencing abilities. There is no latch mode for the sustain button, which would have been really nice. I haven't tried to hook up a sustain pedal via MIDI. Maybe that might work. I don't know. But yeah, so not a lot of features. And the last thing is, for the limited features he has, it's not cheap. You can get much more fully featured controllers for, cheaper, for sure. So, final verdict, it's a great novelty item. It's kind of a really great item to have if you can afford it, if you're interested in if you want a controller that feels different, that looks different, you can't go wrong with the KeyControl. And also, I don't want to underestimate or undersell it's a real expressive instrument. The control you have is very nice, and when it works, it can really work well. So I think for certain people, it might become your main instrument if it's really something you vibe well with. But definitely I would not recommend this device for somebody looking for a simple device meant to be used as their main MIDI or CV controller. So here you have it. Again, this device is available on Etsy in the Ellitone store, Etsy store. Yeah, that's what I have. Let me know in the comments if you have any question. And as always, please like and subscribe to support the channel. It really makes a difference. All right, take care.